It's like an officer.
Call the commission meeting to order, and Commissioner Baker will lead us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Hi, good afternoon. Let us bow our head in prayer, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and for your wonderful blessings. We thank you for allowing us to be here today together to talk about our city. Give us wisdom, Father. Help us and guide us and bless everyone here. In Christ's name, amen. Will everyone stand for the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Here.
Commissioner Garver?
Here.
Commissioner White? Vice Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Mayor Lamb?
Here. You had in your packet the June 6th commission meeting minutes. Are there deletions or additions we need to make on this?
Mayor, I move to accept the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker?
Yay.
Commissioner Garver?
Yes.
Commissioner White?
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson?
Yay.
Mayor Lamb?
Yay. Now's the time we have set aside for our comments from our citizens. We do have 3 public hearings. So if you have something to speak about outside of those public hearings on the ordinances dealing with our fiscal issues, this would be the time for you to come to the microphone and give us your name and your address.
Hi, good evening. My name is Debbie Alden, 9421 Leland Drive here in Collegedale. I'm coming on two concerns. One is the adding of 72 townhomes on Ottawa-Ringgold Road. We have not, over by the daycare facility between the daycare and Ottawa Middle School. We haven't seen a plan on the proposal on how far Ottawa-Ringgold Road is going to be widened and how that's going to be done yet. We're already concerned between Four Corners out to East Hamilton High School with all that added housing. And now we're putting more housing in a small area that will back up with the railroad train stopped on the tracks. Now you add another 72, which is probably more like 144 cars at each one of those at that complex. So I'm hoping, I'm not necessarily opposed to the land being developed, but as far as density wise and before the road gets addressed, once again, seems to be putting the cart before the horse. And then my second concern tonight is the progress or lack of progress on Little Debbie Park. I wasn't sure if the commissioners had been updated on what was going on. As a person that travels and walks by there numerous times a day, I see very few workers on a given day. Finally, this afternoon, I did see a couple of Ottawa nursery workers out on the backside of the hill, but otherwise nobody was out there working. Every so often you see a few people out there working to put the playground equipment together. The roads or the pathways are halfway done, not all the way done. The drainage over by the greenway for where the paths are supposed to join into that parkway are full of water and swamp. I don't know if they're trying to address that issue as to how those are going to drain and run off into the retention ponds that they put in out there, or what's going on there. There's no, originally when this first came to light, it was to be started in April and be done for a Christmas opening. And now we've started it and it's still not done. And we have more company coming in less than 2 weeks for the 4th of July celebration. And the people don't know how to park. When we had the last group of people coming here, I have pictures on my phone of trucks and even cars, minivans, hanging out into the lanes and not pulling all the way up to the curbing. And then some people are pulling in slanted one way and some other people are pulled in slanted the other direction. I mean, I realize they don't have the final lift on it, but now we're going to have even more people coming. And once again, where's our progress? What's the status of this park and when's it going to get done? Because right now it really is an eyesore to the area.
Let me speak to the first item you mentioned. What we're doing tonight is the zoning only. When the plans and so forth are brought to the planning commission and they are approved by the planning commission to be brought to the commission, then you will know more about some of the questions that you ask about that. So it's a little bit putting the cart before the horse right now.
Because in their
Because
proposal,
we're
they
only
gave all of that.
We're only going to change the zoning
Okay.
in this ordinance, and there will be a public
That happened
hearing
last
on
week.
that in 2 weeks.
Correct, but it went to planning commission last week.
Yes, it was at the planning commission tonight. They're recommending us to approve the zoning change. We will have it, because it's an ordinance, we will have in 2 weeks a public hearing on that ordinance and the change of the zoning.
Okay, so what she's saying is it's only being changed to accommodate townhomes in there, but yet at the planning meeting, as I read all the notes from them, they have it all plotted out. They have the
Right.
roads in. So the ordinance and the final approval on the plat of land are two different things, or are they the same thing?
They're two different
They're
things.
two different things, but the development plan will closely resemble what was taken to planning commission for the zoning change. Because you don't do speculative zoning changes based
Okay.
on basically, I just want to change a piece of property. The developer comes with the plan and what they're proposed to do.
Yes.
But yes, as part of the development process, they'll submit plans, preliminary plats, et cetera, for the exact layouts and lot calls and that sort of thing.
Okay, and that will be at another planning meeting
Correct, for the plats.
for the plats. But if the commissioners approve it to be townhomes, it's pretty much a done deal that it would be rezoned to townhomes and not single-family homes or things like that.
Correct. If it passes at the next reading, it would be rezoned for townhomes, not
Townhomes.
single-family homes.
Okay, all right.
Speak to
You
the
want
park.
me to
Speak to
address
the
the
park.
park?
Yeah.
So as with everything, we're having huge supply chain issues, and that is the major delay on the park. The heavy timbers for the pavilions and that sort of thing have been nearly impossible to get, and we are working on that. We're actually going to have to work with the contractors and pull back on the park until we can get some of the timbers there. The reason that the sidewalks aren't being finished is because we'll need to drive lulls across the site to build the pavilions and that sort of thing. So the plan is to get as much done as can be done until we have to pull back and wait on the heavy timbers. As far as the parking and that sort of thing, that street will be closed for the 4th and that area roped off. So we won't have the which ways on parking and that sort of thing for the 4th.
Okay.
The stormwater pond, I'm going to try to
Yes,
unpack, is required by the state to be like that to keep erosion from occurring.
Right.
The silt flows into that water and then settles out. So it will have to stay like that until the site is stabilized.
But the paths, if you're walking on the present greenway and you look up at the park where they've already like there was like gray gravel there as opposed to the white pebble gravel that they used in other places. It was like underwater in those places that I figured those were going to be walkways, but they're underwater. So you put concrete on top of those, the concrete's going to be underwater.
Right. They'll have to do some final grading and swap the pond over from a erosion control pond to a detention pond.
Okay. And then I forgot one other thing is the hill that's not a sledding hill that still looks like a sledding hill to me with the trees at the bottom of it that I was told that wasn't going to be a sledding hill. How are we going to keep people and children off of that using cardboard coming down that hill?
There's no real access to the top easily.
It's called walking. Hello, it's a hill. It's an outdoor area.
I mean, there's a mountain over there,
Yeah, people walk up it too.
right? They could slide down it
Yeah.
if they wanted, but the hill is not intended to be a sledding hill. It's grassed, it's not reinforced, and there are trees to minimize that.
But not on the one side.
Right, that was the donor's vision, was to do it that way, but it is not intended to be a sledding hill.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions? I don't think I got them all.
I think that was the parking. You took care of that they're not going to be, nobody's going to be able to park along Swinyard.
That's the current plan.
Okay.
There'll be an entire parking plan that's part of the 4th. I think it was actually shared on Facebook.
It was on Facebook. It was
Right.
so little.
So are they going to be able to park at the community church?
If the community church allows them to, that's outside the city. We've not
Chief.
leased with them.
Do you remember if they're going to be able,
Community church is going to be available with its paid parking, with donations to the church.
so the road will not be completely closed. So we're going to have the parking lined off so nobody can
Correct.
park there?
Yeah, parallel parking, we barrel off with police tape so that no one uses
Okay.
it, 'cause they're not going to know how to park there until they're used to using it. So it'd be barrel and police tape off.
And I have to agree with Debbie. I'm shocked how that park is looking. It's grown up.
It's weedy.
Yeah,
It's
it looks
disgusting.
pretty embarrassing for the city, I think.
I agree with you, but until it's donated to the city, it's not our maintenance responsibility.
Well-
We normally tell them through building to mow their yard or something. Can we not?
I'm not aware of any regulation as it applies to an active construction site. I can mention it to them and ask them to come out there and mow it.
Sure.
I
would
know
be
as
nice.
part of the delay, they have included the efforts to keep it mowed and that sort of thing. But it's not mowed right now, I agree.
No, yeah, it's just a sad state of affairs. And considering we have all these people coming and we got nothing to show for it except weeds.
We'll mention it to them. We have a meeting in the morning,
Okay.
and so we'll mention it to the
Well,
contractor.
and some of the playground equipment looks like it's functional. So my concern too is if we haven't had a good rain and it's not total mud out there, that you'll have kids playing on that equipment.
And arrangements are being made to limit access to the entire area and cover the equipment so that it does not become an attractive nuisance.
Okay, well,
We're working on it. It's
Okay.
just going
All right, I
very,
was
very
just-
slowly.
it just, the neighbors, I think, have been kind. I haven't heard any complaints. Maybe they've contacted you guys. But it's starting to wear on, that I think we've been patient, I think.
Well,
So,
Well, two reasons some of the equipment has been later getting on is because they weren't able to get the equipment because of things going on,
right.
nation, everything. When we made this plan, or when they made this plan, everything was on time. But then it's affected everyone, not being able to get the equipment they were supposed to, the materials that they needed in order to purchase and make the equipment. So that put a little delay on it.
Well, and some places, when they've been building things, have not started the building process until they had everything that they needed. And that's not what happened on this particular case. They started with what they could, built the hill, put in the trees, and now we're at the state that we're in, instead of waiting until things came in. So, thank you.
Thank you. Our next, anyone else going to speak?
Good evening, Faye Robinson, 8594 Rambling Rose Drive, Ottawa. I just wanted to come by and say hello and remind everybody that I'm running for School Board District 10. And we'll have a meet and greet in the East Community Room next Tuesday, June the 28th from 6 to 8. And I would love to get to know everybody better, and you know me. And I ask for your vote on or before August the 4th. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll go on with our agenda. Our next three items are for a public hearing. So I'm going to close the commission meeting and open the public hearing for ordinances 1106, 07, and 08. Would you read the caption of those three, please?
Ordinance number 1106, an ordinance of the City of Collegedale, Tennessee, amending the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget.
Okay, the first one is dealing with our amendments to our current budget. Anyone wish to speak to that particular ordinance? Seeing none, let's go on to the second one.
Ordinance number 1107, an ordinance of the City of Collegedale, Tennessee, providing for the general revenue thereof for the fiscal year 2022-2023, to be known as the general revenue for said year.
This one deals with our tax rate. Our general fund tax rate will not be raised this year. It will continue to be, it is 1.3897. Any comments or questions regarding this particular ordinance 1107 and our tax rate? Seeing none, let's go to our next one, please.
Ordinance number 1108, an ordinance of the City of Collegedale, Tennessee, adopting the annual budget for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2022, and ending June 30, 2023.
Okay, any comments in regard to our budget for next year, our 2023 budget? It's been on the website so that it was available for everyone to review. And we would be welcome any comments or questions you may have. Seeing none, I believe we've had our public hearing. I will close it and go back to our commission meeting. Okay, it's time for us then to look at these for a vote. The first one is the ordinance for our fiscal year budget, 21-22 budget for amending Any questions or comments from our commissioners?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for ordinance 1106. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yay.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay. Our next item is ordinance 1107. That is our general revenue level for this upcoming year. Any comments or questions from our commissioners?
Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay. Our next item is 1108, adopting the annual budget for fiscal year July 1, 22 through June 30, 23.
Move
Any
to approve.
comments or questions?
Oh.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on that budget. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay. We'll move on to our new business. And I have a request, if it's okay with the commissioners, to move number 6 up and deal with it first. Is there any issue? Is that okay with everybody?
Good with me.
Okay, we will go to that item. It is approval of 2 new members of the library board.
Okay, so the library board has interviewed many candidates. We had over 15 candidates for the board when we put out the call this time. We're losing 2 members, John Willis. We've already lost Susan Johnson for personal reasons for both. And these are the candidates that the board has chosen to replace them. I've met Chris. I haven't met Christina yet, but they're both enthusiastic about the position. And Chris has already been sending me emails with ideas, so I think he's going to be very engaged. Do you have any questions for me?
Can we share a little bit with the audience who they are, what
Oh,
their
sure.
qualifications are?
So Chris George is, he's, both of them are Collegedale residents. He's a Collegedale resident. He is a local journalist. He's been writing sports journalism for his whole career, writing for various places, including Chattanooga Times. He's currently editor and publisher of Blue Ribbon College Basketball Yearbook. And he's going to be inducted into the Tennessee Sports Writers Association Hall of Fame this summer. And he's been a lifelong library user and brings his 2 grandchildren to the library now. Christina Henderson she's also a resident of Collegedale. She grew up in this area, so she actually attended our story times and participated in summer reading program. She was a high school English teacher for several years, and she's currently the Director of Talent Development with the Chattanooga Chamber of Commerce.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay. Knowing Chris, you'll hear from him a lot.
Natalie, thanks so much for all you do for the library.
Really do appreciate it.
It's run very well.
Thank you. I appreciate your support.
Okay, we'll move on then with our new business agenda. And the first item is the first reading of ordinance 1109. Would you read that caption, please?
An ordinance to amend the official zoning map to rezone certain properties from AG Agricultural District to R1T Residential Zero Lot Line Townhouse District more particularly described as inclusive of Hamilton County tax map parcels 141-005 and 141-005.01, said properties being located within the corporate limits of Collegedale, Tennessee.
I did want to note that the site plan was mislabeled and it actually shows 82 lots rather than 72, but that the plan is unchanged from what went to the planning commission. And that the 82 units is 6.58 units per acre, which is still under the max of 8 for the requested zone.
So it's an increase in,
It was mislabeled on the site plan. The site plan showed 82 and what went to the planning commission, but it was labeled as 72. So yes, it's an increase because it was mislabeled.
So is it still the same number per acre?
No, that went up to 6.58, which is under the max of 8.
The R1 T zone, if the development the townhome development would fall apart, R1 single family could be built on that, under that zoning?
Correct. The R1T, the way it is written, each one is treated much more like a PUD. And so, but yes, my understanding is it could be R1 if they did not do townhomes.
Okay.
But it could not be apartments ever,
Yeah, okay.
or condos, because everything has to be fee simple.
So they would be sold as individual units, not as a condo rental type properties?
Correct. It could not be like the project up here on Appleton Pike would not be allowed under the RT zoning.
Is it a lot like the Barnsley, similar to the Barnsley development, that they have more like a patio home structure, but it's a townhouse, but it's single dwellings for single families?
Correct. That's what the zoning would allow, the ones off Dutton Lane or the cottage homes.
And this is just a vote to change the zoning. The actual development will be voted on at a later time.
Through the plat process, which is the interesting thing about the RT zoning, like I said, is everything has to be fee simple, so it's just to go through the plat process.
But moving forward with this ordinance from ag to R1T allows for any kind of single family type. So this is just moving that zoning so that allows for it, not approving the townhomes specifically.
It would allow for.
It allows for them, but not.
Right.
Okay.
so how many structures is this going to be in that zoning? When you say it's 82?
Do you know, Billy, off the top of your head? But how many structures?
Are they separate individual unit?
No, they're going to be a mix of 3 and 4.
It looked like on what they should,
19.
19.
And this is down here next to Ooltewah Middle School.
Right behind my house.
Correct.
How many parking spaces are allotted?
There's not community parking. Each parking would be per unit in a garage situation and
Okay.
driveway.
Gotcha. Okay.
It would be very similar to the ones on Dutton Lane in Barnsley.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So again, not like the Pratt development where
Correct. The
there's
Pratt
parking
development
and
would not be
people
allowed.
passing through their private property or their properties and things like that. Okay. Now, Ooltewah Ringle Road is state road.
Correct.
So any kind of widening or infrastructure is coming through TDOT.
That is coming through TDOT, and we have not begun conversations with them, which tells me that it is decades out. Conversations have started on the southern end from Four Corners going out to East Brainerd Road. And those are not expected to even begin in the next 12 years, and conversations have not begun headed north.
Is there enough easement on the property to put sidewalks? I'm assuming if we wanted to with the state's approval on the front end of the property?
We could.
Or
there's
is the
no
developer going to be adding sidewalks, I should say?
internal, but not on the TDOT right of way.
We,
Okay,
Right. There will be internal sidewalks, but not along Ooltewah Ringle.
okay.
just remember, we're only working on the zoning tonight, not the plat,
Right, but
because that
These-
has
these
to
are-
be really thoroughly examined in our planning meeting.
Right. These are just the conditions of the zoning, what would be required, though, to answer your questions.
Well, so I was making sure that there was, I couldn't remember if our R1T required sidewalks to be added at the front of the property or not,
Not along state roads.
because it's state roadway.
It's state roadways, and that actually comes out of our multimodal
Right.
ordinance. It's not to do with the zoning, but the development of it. But because it's on a state roadway, we don't control it.
That part of Ottawa Ringo Road, it will be difficult to widen anyway because of the train
Yeah, you'd have to,
crossings in Trussell.
yes, that's why the
You have a
state has
25
not
foot
started
easement.
Yeah.
undertaking it.
But then there's not any sidewalks all the way down through Old Ottawa.
Not yet, at least,
Not yet, because TDOT
right?
has control over that. And I'll interject something here, just not because I live behind there in Robertson Farms. But there was come to light that they were concerned about maybe having built a path to go across from the neighborhood to make access to the schools. And that's something they'd have to look at. That's not something favorable for Robertson Farm Estates because our kids already cross the railroad track to go there. They've made their own path. It's been that way for over 20 years. But one thing we were concerned about is the greenery and the easement, because from the railroad, there has to be a 25-yard. Okay. And I was at planning the other night, and the gentlemen were looking at that and were considering that into consideration. And so that will come along with the planning and all the plaque and all. But I'm for this because I don't want a warehouse in my backyard, because I am at the train track.
And it was being advertised as commercial property, so.
Yeah, and so I am, that whole thing with, because I have an easement, which I've allowed more space. My husband and I did for a bird sanctuary on the other side of the track. But when you clean that out, I'd rather look at a house with children than the back of a warehouse.
Okay. Any further
That's my
comments, questions?
I think that I am a little concerned about the traffic right there next to the school. The railroad, when it's got a train going across, it backs up past Rhodes Furniture most of the time. And when you add the additional traffic, I know this is zoning, but zoning leads into a bigger picture of it. And I've got some challenges with the school right there, and then also the amount of traffic it's going to cause to get to Appleton Pike at that point, so.
May I interject something? This is just from personal experience because I live there. There is only one way in my neighborhood and one way out. More issues are with the train than there is the actual flow of traffic, because when the train is not stopped on the track, the traffic flows. And it's usually during predominant times, maybe 5 o'clock in the evening when people are coming home. For some reason, the train has that same schedule. And so that is the thing, but people have learned to go around. And so it's not really hindered people getting in and out of the neighborhoods and going through the Ottawa section. And the school traffic, that is a concern, but I don't think it's really going to increase at the times that the people are getting out. The buses will still be running as they are. People that pick up, I don't really see it as a big instrument right now, obstacle. Because some of these children will walk home. Because kids in Robertson Farms, they have buses, but they still walk to and from.
And that's the reason why I made the point of sidewalks through the front of the development to connect to the sidewalks at the middle school, because what we don't want is kids walking that tiny shoulder to the school. And I know some parents may encourage it. I mean, it's so close.
Yeah, they cross the tracks.
But I know that's the talent property in between.
It is, and it's a state right of way.
Right.
And the state is reluctant to allow pedestrians along state right of way. They have lots of requirements once you start adding in sidewalks, that they have to add additional connectivity and that sort of thing.
Isn't that the same kind of thing that when they built the whistle stop, people wanted to put sidewalks there, but because it was state and their guidelines, it was not feasible. But
One
No
more
matter
quick,
what you put there, there's going to be traffic.
one more quick question. It's not zoning related. I've heard several. So is there a plan to have an HOA for taking care of the green spaces? Oh, okay. I think that's a good thing.
Anytime you have a retention pond, we almost have to have
Okay,
HOA.
right. That was my question. Very good. Thank you.
I've got more questions, but they will wait for the development, not a zoning question, so I'll stay in my lane. I'm
You can,
sorry.
you can come to planning.
My
meeting.
real estate, yeah, it's coming out, I'm sorry.
Okay, any additional comments or questions? Are you ready for a motion?
I make a motion that we approve.
I'll second it.
Is that okay, Sam?
If the
Okay.
board,
After you have a.
If you'll come to the mic, please, so everyone can hear you. I wanted to make sure our attorney said you could speak.
Yes, my name is Steve Drummer. I'm engineer for Mr. McCoy on the project. I just want to ask, you made a motion, would that include the 82 lots? Is that the motion?
That's from my understanding. That's what was presented before,
Okay.
right? Yes.
Thank you. I just want to make sure.
Thank you. Okay, we're ready for a vote. Roll call?
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Garver, Commissioner White,
yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Abstain.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay.
And this is the first reading, so there'll be a public hearing
Yeah.
on this
Correct.
in 2 weeks.
And then we still need to see the actual plans. and go.
Well, we won't have another planning meeting until in July,
Yeah.
so we won't see any more plans before July, but we will have a public hearing on it in 2 weeks.
And now's probably a good time to mention that that will be on July the 5th rather than the 4th.
That is correct. Our meeting will be July the 5th because of the 4th of July holiday. Okay. Okay, our
It's
next,
going to have to be the 18th due to advertisement.
that'll be when the public hearing will be?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the public hearing will be July 18th.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.
15-day advertisement. You're not, the 5th would not do it.
Okay, our next item is approval for the purchase of the EOL live scan fingerprint system for the police department.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
So our live scan fingerprint system, which we use obviously in our booking process for arrestees, has reached its end of life cycle. It's no longer able to be included in any type of maintenance or support contracts. We've tried to Band-Aid it along the way, but it's just come to the point to where it's just not going to be serviceable for us anymore. So we need a new system. DataWorks LiveScan Plus is the only vendor that's compatible with our existing software and systems. So it's saving us a little money by staying with this vendor. They're also the only vendor that is able to convert and migrate all our current data on this system over to a new system. So just requesting approval for the purchase of $18,077.20. And we do have money in this current budget for that purchase.
Okay. Any questions for Chief Scott?
Move to approve.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yay.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson,
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay. And our next item is an MOU between the police department and Tennessee Integrated Criminal Justice Program.
Right. Basically, that just gives us access to their database and systems, the Tennessee Integrated Criminal Justice Portal, which our officers use on a daily basis to obtain driver's license record, registration, wanted persons, et cetera. This is nothing new for our agency. We've used that for many, many years. It just requires my signature and your approval moving forward into the next fiscal year.
Okay.
Is that something new that we're doing to approve that? Well, I don't think we've ever voted.
I can't speak to what happened before me. I just know that it requires my signature, and Sam has reviewed it, and the MOU is good to go.
I make a motion, we accept.
Second.
We have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yay.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Our next item is with Public Works. Approval for a Knuckle truck body purchase and installed on a used chassis.
Yes. Good evening. So if you remember, 2.5 months ago, you guys approved the purchase of a used chassis. This is the new Knuckle truck body to be put on that chassis due to the fact that new trucks are 365 days plus out on delivery. And so I'm requesting the approval for $95,705. And this body is sourced off of a national contract, so it doesn't have to go out to bid or anything like that.
And it's in the budget.
Correct. We are shifting the budget around, and because the garbage truck that we've ordered won't be delivered till after the 1st, this will be purchased out of this year's budget.
And what is it replacing in the fleet? Or is
It's
it adding?
It's adding. We have one current straight truck that's like this truck that is 7 years old. Then we have a trailer truck that we're using every day. We're using that other truck. This is going to take a lot of the load off of that trailer truck, but we're not going to get rid of it.
And what would one of these cost new if?
New, I think it was like 240, 250,000, and we have about 75 in that truck, so we're saving about 50 grand.
I move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay. Our next item is a request for additional funding for the Veterans Memorial Parks sign.
So a while back, the commission approved about $17,000 for the Veterans Memorial Park sign. Due to time and getting scooters going, that price has escalated to $19,725. So we're requesting the additional almost $3,000 for a total of $19,725.
So
Same sign, same
so
look.
it's just strictly inflation
Inflation.
cost.
Wow. Move to approve.
I'll second.
You should have.
I wonder why Carver wants that. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yeah. Yes.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay. Next are our reports from the city.
I'll ask Michelle to present the financial report.
Good evening. You should have the May finance report in front of you. We're 92% through the year and we've received 112% of budgeted revenues and have spent 82% of proposed expenditures. So we're doing great there. A couple of items to note, the business tax looks really low, but it will surpass what we budgeted. Last year in June alone, we received $100,000, over $100,000. So it'll surpass. And also the sale of surplus property, you notice, is way above what was budgeted. And that is due to the fact that the PD and city manager have worked together and sold all of the decommissioned and line cars. So that's why that's looking so good. As far as the bank account numbers, they're all looking good, no changes. Do you have any questions?
Appreciate the hard work that you ladies do in there with this.
Thank you.
I know it's not easy keeping track of everybody, particularly our city manager.
I agree with you.
Move to approve finance report.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Baker,
Yes.
Commissioner Garver,
Yes.
Commissioner White,
Yay.
Vice Mayor Johnson.
Yay.
Mayor Lamb.
Yay. Anything else?
Freedom Festival on the Sunday the 3rd. Looking forward to it.
I appreciate the parkings that you put out for the Facebook. I hope that everybody has shared that so that everyone knows where they can and cannot park. Commissioner White.
I just want to thank city staff for putting together a pretty darn good budget last year and this year, with no tax increase right now. It's a hard time for our community with inflation, and so it's nice that we're staying within our means and projecting pretty realistic numbers on the front end helps with that, especially with the amending of the budget was the lowest I've seen in the time I've been on the commission. So without us buying those cameras and those radios, it would have been a $300,000 amendment or so. So I appreciate y'all's hard work on keeping us on task and using taxpayer dollars appropriately. I would like to echo Ms. Alden's complaints about the park. If there's anything we can do to get that under control, I don't think it's fair that codes enforcement calls on residents to get their yards mowed, and we let that, which is the center of the city, get to where it's at. Same complaint with, and I've talked to you about this behind or in your office about the construction areas that are not under our control on Apison Pike and Talent, getting pretty raggedy and rough. And then the last thing is just to, I look forward to the 4th of July and hope everything's looking sharp and good for that. So, thank you guys.
Okay. Commissioner Garber.
Just one thing, I'd like to thank Jeff for coming tonight. He's our new District 10 Commissioner, and those of you who've been able to get acquainted with him will be very pleased with the person we've got representing us in the county. Good to see you, Jeff.
Mayor, can I say one thing? Selling the surplus line cars is a big accomplishment. So Chief Sapp, I should have given you kudos for that. That's a huge deal to get rid of those line cars. And 71, I don't know how much of the 71,000 was that. I know we were selling a bunch of things. That's really nice to put back into the budget to offset costs in buying new vehicles. I know that's been a concern in the community in the past. So thank you for helping us get rid of those terminated line cars. So I'm done.
Commissioner Baker.
I can piggyback off of them, which I will do because I'm very, very happy with the way the things are going. I was going to ask Eric, the pavement schedule for repaving Robertson Farms, could you tell me approximately when that's going to happen?
So I was speaking with them today. It's not set in stone. They're actually going to come out there to start milling this Thursday
Thursday, okay.
and pave the following week.
Okay, and they're going to pave the whole neighborhood or just High Street and Robertson Farms?
They're going to be paving all of the roads in that neighborhood.
All roads, okay. Thank you. And just a heads up, I do plan to be here July 3rd, but my daughter is going to have a baby that weekend. So depending on when they take the baby, well, depend on when I'll be here. You know, because this is my first biological grandchild, and I plan to spoil it rotten the first 24 hours anyway. Somebody have to fight over it. But I want to congratulate the police chief and his department for doing such a fine job in enhancing the budget for the police department. And Eric, I think we've got a wonderful team here. And I'd like to continue to see us grow, and anything I can do in service, let me know. Okay.
Vice Mayor.
I would like to say to our police chief, I love you being so transparent with all the videos that you post. I continue to get positive feedback. So the last one, I thought the officer did a good job when he turned and scanned the gas pumps and they were empty, but she parked in the handicap place because it was full. So definitely those cameras are worth every penny we've paid for them over the years, but your guys are really doing a great job, and it's great to see them out. So thanks. Eric, I've been thinking about your guys. They work hard. I mean, I hope you're keeping them refreshed with water and stuff like that, because when they come out and pick up all this rubbish on the side of the road on last Wednesday, for example, I know it's hot in those trucks, and they're getting in and out of those trucks, and I see the landscapers out, so, and the mowers, and
We go through about 2 pallets of water a year.
wow. And the guy that was cutting the grass today at the Veterans Park, he was having a good time. I didn't know the lawnmower would go that fast, but
Get out the heat.
yeah, so everything's looking good. I don't see the airport here today, but you know, from that perspective, I think that I see the coast guys out running around every now and then. So
I would like to make a suggestion. I made this before, but we haven't really elaborated on it. I'd like to see something done. We always recognize those that work with us and so forth, but I would like for the Public Works Department, if there's something that we can do. I know in times past, which was years ago, we did something, but if we could do a dinner for the family or whatever for recognition for the services that do for our community.
Okay, we'll plan something out.
Okay. Can we plan something out pretty soon?
We'll get started on it after the Freedom Festival.
How about when it's cooler?
I'm just asked Eric, he would like to, it would be good for them, because I don't want to wait 6, 8 months, 10, or another year. Okay. But thank you, appreciate it. And that goes really for all of us. We try to take care of all the departments.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
I too want to welcome our new commissioner, Ebasal. I meant to do it at the very beginning. And we will see if we can welcome a new a school board member here before long too. For those that want to put it on your calendar, August 4 is the election day. I have a question, and do you have any idea, Wayne, how many charging stations there may be in our area? Several people have asked me about that recently, and the only ones I'm aware of are the ones that are up on the Southern University campus.
Walmart.
Does Walmart have some?
Cracker Barrel.
Walmart.
Cracker Barrel.
A
There
couple of the banks.
probably are some or will be some out at Volkswagen.
Okay,
But those are outside of private ones. Those are the only ones I know of.
okay. And I was glad to see on Facebook today, scooters will be open the end of June.
Yes.
And I keep getting questions, when can we get a cup of coffee down there? So put out the word. On Facebook, it said the end of June, and
Right.
scooters had their own page.
Just under 2 weeks.
And I just wish they realized they were in Collegedale, not Ottawa.
Well, there may be someone that represents Walmart that could have the same edification.
Yeah, well, maybe so. Okay.
What about Jack's? How's that going?
It's moving along.
It's moving along. It's still a few months out.
Okay.
They ran into some really, really poor soils, and that slowed them down significantly.
Anything promising in the old drugstore area?
No, ma'am.
What is going in at the other SunTrust that's across from the Debbie thrift store?
That, my understanding is the McKee Corporation is converting that over for their medical office.
Okay.
Yes, they're going to have their own pharmacy, and they will be having all of their nurse practitioners and health care in there.
Oh, that'll be good. Okay.
If nothing else, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We're adjourned.
See you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Appreciate y'all.